Students, in the previous video we have discussed about what is colloidal solution, what is suspension, what is Tyndall effect. Now in this video we will study about various techniques of separating different components of a mixture. In this video we will study about techniques of evaporation, centrifugation, sublimation, chromatography, distillation, crystallization and purification of water. Our first technique is evaporation. This technique is used to separate components of a mixture in which one of the component is non-volatile and one of the component is volatile. Volatile components are those components which gets evaporated when they are subjected to heat. This technique is used to obtain salt from seawater. We know that salt is a non-volatile component and water is a volatile component. When seawater is heated, the water evaporates and the salt is left behind. So this technique is used. Next technique is centrifugation. This technique is used to separate dense particles from the light particles. This technique is used to separate butter from cream, cream from milk. In this technique, the milk is put in a centrifuge machine or milk churner and the cream thus separates from the milk. As you can see in the figure, this is a centrifugation machine. In this the mixture is kept and the mixture is rotated at a very high speed, and due to this rotation the particles, the lighter particles and the denser particles, they get easily separated from each other. Next technique is using a separating funnel. This technique is used to separate two immiscible liquids. What are immiscible liquids? Immiscible liquids are those liquids which do not mix with each other. For example, if we want to separate oil from water, kerosene from water, we can use this technique. This technique is based on the principle that the two components have different densities. As you can see in this figure, the two components, they are the mixture is put in the separating funnel and it is kept for some time. The two components separate out as different layers. The different layers, the lower layer of the liquid of lower density, it floats at the top, and the liquid of high density, it floats at the bottom. And there is a tap or stopcock at the bottom of the funnel. When we open the stopcock or this tap, the high density liquid flows out of it and we close the tap. Now we are having a high density liquid and we have separated it from the low density liquid. So the immiscible liquids are allowed to settle in the funnel. They soon form separate layers due to varying densities. The first liquid is allowed to flow out of the funnel, and as soon as it is completely poured out, the stopcock is closed, thereby separating the two liquids from each other. Our next technique is sublimation. Sublimation, we know that it is a process in which the solid substance get directly converted into the gaseous state. This technique is used when one of the component is a sublimable component. For example, if we want to separate ammonium chloride from salt, as you can see in this figure, we have taken a mixture of ammonium chloride and salt, and we know that ammonium chloride is sublimable compound. When we heat the mixture, ammonium chloride gets converted into the vapors and it gets solidified at the neck of the funnel. From this we can easily separate the solidified ammonium chloride. So this technique is used. Our next technique is chromatography. This technique is used to separate the solid particles which are different types of solid particles which are present in traces in the same solvent. For example, if we want to separate various pigments of dyes, because we know the dye color is made up of various pigments, so we can separate the various pigments or mixtures of ink. We can separate drugs from the blood. So this is an important technique. Next is distillation. This technique is used to separate miscible liquids. Earlier we have studied about two immiscible liquids. For that we have used separating funnel. Now for miscible liquids we use this process of distillation. And one important point to be noted is that for separating the two miscible liquids, the liquids should have a great difference or a wide difference in their boiling points. If they are having a large difference in their boiling points, then only we can use this technique. For example, if we are having acetone and water, we know that acetone has a very lower boiling point as compared to water. For example, acetone is having 56 degrees Celsius boiling point and water is having 100 degrees Celsius. So we heat the mixture and the acetone evaporates first because it has a lower boiling point. So it evaporates and it condenses, and through a condenser we pass these vapors and then it condenses and it can be collected in the another beaker. So the mixture is heated in a distillation apparatus. The one substance with the lower boiling point evaporates first, condenses and gets separated from one with a higher boiling point. Simple distillation when the miscible liquids have a satisfactory difference in their boiling points. But if the difference is between 25 Kelvin is less than 25 Kelvin, then we use fractional distillation, about which we will study in the next slides. Now look at this distillation through this video. Here we are having a mixture of acetone and water. We are heating the mixture of acetone and water, and when we heat when the temperature reaches 56 degrees Celsius, this is the boiling point of acetone, the vapors of acetone starts forming. We can see that the vapors of acetones are forming, and these vapors, they are made to pass through the condenser. These vapors are made to pass through the condenser, and condenser condenses these vapors into the liquid, and we get acetone in the separate beaker. So we can see that the beaker the acetone is collecting, and in the apparatus water is left behind. Our next technique is fractional distillation. This is very important technique. This is used to separate different gases from air. We know that air is a mixture of gases. So we first compress and cool the air and convert it into the liquid, and this can be done by increasing the pressure and decreasing the temperature. We increase the pressure and decrease the temperature so that the air turns into the liquid, and now this liquid air is warmed up slowly in a fractional distillation apparatus. Now we are having a liquid air and the mixture is slowly warmed so that various components, various gases, they evaporates at their boiling points, and there are various columns in the fractionating apparatus. So the gases, they separate out at different levels through this fractionating column. These are the process steps that air we compress and cool by increasing pressure and decreasing temperature. Now we get the liquid air and we allow it to warm up slowly in fractional distillation column, and gases get separated at different heights. So this is a table. Next we have the process of crystallization, which is used for purifying solids. It is used to obtain purified crystals of salt from seawater, purified copper sulfate from impure copper sulfate solution. In this we prepare a saturated solution of the compound whose purified form we want. Suppose if we want to obtain purified copper sulfate, we prepare a saturated solution of copper sulfate and we heat it. Then we keep on doing this till we get a dense solution, and we left it for some time at room temperature, and we see that the crystals of pure solid are formed. So the impurities of a substance are filtered out, water is evaporated to obtain a saturated solution. The solution is covered with filter paper and left as it is. After some time, the crystals of pure solid are formed. So through this we can obtain the pure crystals. Next is important technique for purified water on a large scale. We know that we obtain water from large water bodies and we cannot consume it directly because many a times it contains impurities in it. So we have to purify it for the purpose of drinking. In this method we employ sedimentation, decantation, loading, filtration and chlorination. These are used to remove the undesirable materials from water. In this we have a pumping section. You can see in this diagram We have a pumping section through which the water is obtained from a water reservoir, then it is passed through the sedimentation tank where it is left for some time, and the sediments, they settle down at the bottom, and the water is passed to the loading tank where the alum is added. On introducing the alum, the further minute impurities, they settle down at the bottom of the loading tank, and this water is now passed through a filtration tank which contains a layer of gravel, pebble, sand, coarse fine sand, through which the water is filtered. It passes then to the chlorination tank where chlorine is added to kill all the germs, to kill all the bacteria, to kill all the microbes, and we get a pump. Then the water is passed to the pumping station where it is through there it is stored in the water storage tanks and then to your home. So this is the process where this is a whole process through which we can obtain the purified form of water. Hope you like the video. Now watch this video carefully and do the question answers in the assignment. Thank you.